Gracio, and welcome back to my show, Pathways to the Dream Lodge Cafe. And I'm your host, Candice Tarpley. Today, I have three wonderful actresses, and we are dealing with women over 40 in the acting field. We will also touch on other arts because we're that multi-talented. And today I want to introduce you to Sunny Moreno, Marcella Lowry, and Ingrid Saxton, my friends. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So glad you all could come. Sunny, could you please tell us a little about yourself?
Okay, my name is Sunny Moreno. I'm Mayan, Apache, and Yaqui. I was born in Northern California. Currently live in Staten Island, New York.
All right.
And been doing theater pretty much most of my life. And so it's mainly musical theater and continue to do the work.
Fabulous, fabulous. I love it.
Thank you.
Marcella.
Hi, I'm Marcella Lowry. I live in Harlem. I've been in theater a long time. Commercials, plays, voiceovers, film when I can get it. And I love it, especially comedy.
You're good at what you do.
Thank you.
And Ingrid.
Yeah, I'm an actress
Yeah.
and a voice teacher, and I just started producing this year.
Fabulous, fabulous.
I produced a show and my first film.
Way.
Oh, way to go, way to go. I'm so glad that my friends could come, and they're so talented and versatile, and, you know, it dispels this myth about youth, because sometimes you just don't have it together until you're much older, and being pushed aside is not what we intend to do. You just came off of a show, yes?
Yes, I'm currently working with Martha Redmond in her production of her life story called Bone Hill. And it's mainly like a rock opera, and it's about her story growing up in the Appalachian Mountains as a Native and Black, African American. So I play her great-great-grandmother.
Oh, fabulous.
Eliza.
I would love it if later on you would do us a little favor and sing us a
Sure, later,
small
yeah.
song, whatever. That would be great. I know Marcella does a lot of not theater, but film and TV, having been Miss Noble on City Guys, and Elvin's mother on the Cosby Show. On the Cosby Show.
The
Yes.
mother, grandmother, yeah.
Could you tell us some of your experiences with
Well, on the Cosby Show, I love doing the show. I didn't do that many of them, but I did some, and I learned a great deal. And City Guys, working with the kids out in L.A. as Miss Noble, the principal. Those kids kept me laughing, I tell you. And it was quite an experience living in L.A., New York, L.A. L.A. is an interesting place. And as long as you're working there, it's moving. The days seem like a lifetime when you're not working. They seem like they go on forever. And I love doing the short movie of commercials. You're doing a whole movie in, 30, 60, and sometimes 15. And I love voiceover work. I keep threatening people with my one-woman show that I have pulled out again, and I am working on it still. It's called Ignaboodled. Ignaboodled, yes, And I pulled out my plays again. You know, you're so busy, I find out it's so important looking for work, to find the time to write, and everybody understands the rent in New York. You do have to hustle. And I've had a few outside jobs, part-time jobs to just keep it moving.
That's right.
what are some of the things
do.
you've done other than acting?
Well, I worked for the New York Times in sales. Yeah. I've tutored a little, I make jewelry, I bead, I knit,
Yes.
I cook.
I've been to your bead shows, and they are
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
And I love your knitting.
Well, thank you. But you do what you have to do, you know,
Exactly.
and because you love doing what you want to do. And I love voiceover work. I just could stay in that booth. I
Oh,
love
great,
it.
yeah.
And I hope to do some audiobooks soon. You
Oh, that
know.
would be wonderful.
I love audiobooks. Yeah, it's just such a good way to express yourself. You get into all the roles.
Oh, that's true.
You know,
That's
so I
true.
can do that too. And just ready to get out here and do some real comedy, though. I love
Yes,
comedy.
okay, I'd come and support you with that.
I love
I would sit
comedy.
on the front row and cheer you on.
I do.
I'd love to
Comedy
see
is
your show.
lovely.
Thank you. Yes, Ignaboodled is almost ready. It's
I
coming.
can't wait for Ignaboodle.
Ignaboodled, yes, yes.
We want to see, yay, yay. So Ingrid, tell us a
Yes.
little bit about yourself.
Well, I guess I grew up in show business. My
Oh,
parents
fabulous.
are performers. My dad was in vaudeville, and he started in Yiddish theater, and then he was in many Broadway shows, and then
Fabulous.
became this premier voice teacher. And when record companies, they would send all their people to my dad, and so it was fun growing up. And my mom is an amazing singer, and we're all voice teachers.
Oh, yes,
And-
I've taken your class.
Awesome.
Yes,
Yes,
that's
I
right,
love
my
it.
student
She's
here.
a really good teacher.
Thank you.
The only
Thank
one
you.
that I've really gone to
Thank
and
you.
really felt that I learned something that I could go home and take. Yeah, she's
I
really
love
good.
teaching, and my dad
Yeah.
developed this technique called controlled relaxation, and it's very active body awareness. It's based on yoga, and it's a lot of free movement and a lot of free sound, as you know. And I found that, so I work with performers, but I also work with business professionals on their presentations, including, we were talking before this show started, we were talking about young people and their communication skills. And so it seems that there are colleges who are interested in my helping their students to be able to present themselves.
So did you grow up backstage with your dad? I mean, did he
mean,
take you? Or?
I remember the very first show I saw my dad in was How to Succeed in Business.
Oh, yeah.
And I was 3, and I remember, I just remember this scene of, being in the red velvet seat and looking up at my daddy, and he stood up and started singing, and I had this feeling of wanting to run up and be on stage with him, and we
Oh,
did that actually
fabulous.
many years later. At the end of his
Wow.
life, we had a show together.
Oh,
so
that's
a
fabulous.
real
That's
blessing.
really fabulous.
That's beautiful.
Well, I wanted to talk to you all about the many changes that are going on in the industry. SAG and AFTRA merged, and how has that affected you two, or you do film too from time to time? How has that affected you? Because I've found that the numbers, like maybe 50,000 or so from AFTRA have joined into SAG, but SAG has not increased the number of people that they must use before they use non-union. And I know a lot of the people who used to work constantly before the merger are not working. And so are you all feeling that crunch, or?
Well, I think there are a lot of things that get in the way. I mean, as much as no one likes to talk about it, there is a distinctive age discrimination thing going on.
Yes.
There's age discrimination, and I don't think we make it up, and it's not there, because it is.
It is.
And I think the cost of doing something now, everybody's looking at the bottom line, the number, and if you can get someone for less, that's what they're going to do. I think it's putting butts in the seats. So if you're a rapper or a gymnast or a dentist,
Yes.
and they think that adds to the allure of it, I talk to a lot of young people, and their whole thing is, I'm going to be an actor. Okay, well, where do you study? Oh, I'm just going to be an actor or a producer or a director. I'm going to direct films. Well, where did you study? It's the whole thing now is anybody. I guess you go online and Google it. How do I become a film director? I guess that's what everybody does now. How do I do this? How do I get this right? And I guess that's good enough. It seems to be good enough because I know a lot of fine actors that aren't working.
I know.
You know,
I know.
and I think it's a combination of things. You know, I think it's a combination of things.
Well, what about all of the actors who are from other countries who have training? They seem to tell us that we can do it without the training, but for the really good parts, you're getting people from all over the world who have been to all of these acting schools, and they're actually pushing the people here out of the way, I find anyway, because you know, this one's from this country, this one's from that country, and they have these long reputations.
Well, yeah, but you see, I can't just jump on a plane and go over to England.
I know.
And it doesn't work like that in Canada.
No.
Maybe they come here, but
But
it's not
we
so
can't
easy
go
unless you
there.
already have the job to get there and get
Yes.
work, because they guard it a little bit more
Yeah,
judiciously. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Above the line and below the line. Now,
Yeah,
if you're
you
a
have
star,
to have a certain
fine,
amount of
but-
money. You know, you have to have a job
but-
to get in. You have to
Right.
already have the job. You
Right.
can't
Yes.
just go there. And plus,
And
when you-
even then, you know, they still you have to go through certain protocol
Right.
to be able to
right to work
yeah,
there. You do. So that's it. I mean, I don't know. They're fine actors wherever they're coming from, and if they let them in, they let them in. You know, but I don't know what we can do about it except to keep
I
on.
know.
You know.
What about reality shows? What do you think of that? Are they really reality shows or are they scripted?
They're scripted. I think to a point they're scripted, but you know, it's like, you know, I just chuckle sometimes because you know I believe you have to make your own. You make your own reality. You make your
Yeah.
own shows. You develop whatever
You have to do your
you
own
take
thing.
your tools that you've learned along the way and along your path, and those friends, and you create
Yes.
together.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
what you like.
That's
You
what-
talking about that earlier. Yeah,
That's-
you have to
that's
do
what
it
I'm doing.
yourself.
Yes. And I'm really blessed because my boyfriend is an amazing playwright. So
Great, yeah.
It's good if you have that.
I'm lucky in that. Yeah. Gilbert Gurian.
Oh, great. Do you also write, or is he
I know.
influencing you to, encouraging you to write also?
No, not really.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm good at putting it together.
Fabulous.
And
yeah.
so, and they're good parts for me. And there are also
Great.
other things that I do want to produce that are just great pieces that I would love, that I may not necessarily be right for, but I think should be done. And so that's sort of something that I've been doing the past couple of years. And I love that. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. I love being in that
This is
position.
Very true.
Yep.
I know I haven't been working much, so I write. I'm a spoken word artist. I'm also a playwright, and I'm a teaching artist. So I do all these different things to survive. And what do you think about all the sexual harassment that has finally come up like cream? I had a problem on the TV show that I was working on, and it didn't go into my favor. And I haven't been working much since then. And it's just amazing, after my fiasco, all of the Weinstein and all these other things are now happening. But people have been allowing this to go on, enabling these men for so many years. I know when I had the problem, it was like, oh, it's your fault. Or, instead of, there are a lot of maniacs out here, and a lot of them are attracted to the arts, unfortunately. So have you ever had a problem where, it kept you from doing work, or?
No, I
Oh,
just
thank God.
Yeah, I guess, I think every woman has their own stance and experience, and and what they have to deal with. It's hard enough just being an artist, a woman artist, let alone indigenous or
Yes.
of other nations. And I think that I used to come across the word exotic. You know, "Hey, you're so exotic." It's like, you know, what am I, a drink or what? You know, it's like,
Or don't forget to wear your feathers.
Is
That's
that-
what
yeah,
one,
yeah, and that's-
one casting director told me on the phone. "Oh, you're coming down? Don't forget to wear your feathers." Click. I didn't go.
but that still happens today.
Yes.
Yeah.
It still happens
Yes.
today. They have a vision or a, what do they call that, dream that, you know.
Illusionary delusion.
Yeah, well, you know, it's I can't think of the word, but it's, you know, they have this vision of how you should be, you know, as a native or, you know, whatever, you know, this indigenous person. And
That exotic name just
yeah.
floats. You know, not human being, just someone's fantasy. You know?
So I think there's still a lot to, you know, that I think it's empowering to see that the women are, you know, saying
Yes,
something.
yes.
And I think, you know, supporting them is, you know, is important. But, you know, there's a lot of things that we need to support too, you know.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I guess it's one foot in front of the other and carry a big stick and smile.
Well, I think so much is coming to light, and I think that is a
Yes.
real positive movement
Yeah.
in so many areas. I mean, and so it's at least, you know, so something can be done then. You know,
Yes.
it's-
Bringing it to light.
Bringing it to light.
Yeah.
I know.
And including what we're talking about too with
Yes.
how people view older people.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
you know, I don't look at myself necessarily.
I know.
I mean, I'm just me, and I'm
Exactly.
doing what I'm passionate about. And, you know, and it could making all kinds of, you know, I don't just look at it that way.
Yes.
And you know, when we were talking about that before, I always bring up this, it was really interesting. My dad and my grandmother were the same age, and my grandmother, she was the best grandmother ever. She was really, really great. But she thought of herself as older, and my dad never did.
Oh, I understand, yes.
And so
Yeah.
that made a big impression on me, and I realized, you know, it's just an illusion, and
Yes.
you can just be yourself and do what you want to do, and what you feel led to do in life, and at any age.
Yes. Yes, I've met some people that are 35, they act like they're 70. And then you meet somebody who's 70 who acts like they're 35, you know?
Yeah.
And I've also decided to write stories, plays for older women. I love 10-minute plays, 10 or less, because they're wonderful, and everybody's attention span nowadays is not the best. So I like to keep it short and for older women.
You just had that reading, where was it?
Yeah.
At the Dramatists Guild,
That
Friday
was
night footlights.
exciting.
Yeah, I'm a member of the guild, thank goodness.
That's
yeah.
great.
So I got a standing ovation. I was so proud. And I had wonderful actors and a lot of support. Marcella was there, and she did her fantastic work.
Oh.
And so I loved it. And I have about 3 other scripts in my head that when I find the time, I will sit down and write them. And you all are welcome to come.
Oh, thank you.
Definitely. So, what age did the acting bug bite you? I mean, Ingrid.
Well, you know, the story that I mentioned before, I was 3.
Yeah. She was 5,
first
you were 3.
remember it.
Yeah. And you, Marcella, what?
Well, nobody in my family was in the arts. I was living in Long Island, and I came into town to see a classmate, you know, of mine. We had graduated from the same school. Vanette Carroll had a theater.
Oh,
And she'd come in, she got cast, she could sing. And they did this play called The Prodigal Son. I remember it so clearly. And I came in from Long Island to see her. And I don't know, there was something about that play, and it just kind of grabbed me. and got me. And so when I moved to New York, then after I moved to New York, and it was, I think it was Hattie Winston that introduced me to the
Hattie,
Negro
yes.
Ensemble Company workshop.
Okay.
And it was great training, and I loved it. And went on from there. There were a lot more off-Broadway
Yes.
theaters on the Lower East Side.
Yes.
And, you know, because they had the new dramatists down there, and Joe Papp was down there, and they had
La Mama.
La Mama,
Yeah.
yes, Ellen
Ellen,
Stewart.
yeah.
I did something there, and playwrights that were just
Yeah.
writing. So it was a nice little Renaissance time, and that's where I got my training. Basically, you finally have to leave the class. Lloyd Richards was a teacher.
yes. I had
Kirsten
Lloyd,
Linkletter, I believe her name was, taught voice,
Wow.
and Earl Johnson, he taught dance. And you did it.
Louis Johnson.
Louis Johnson.
Yeah.
What'd I say? Arnold? I meant
yeah.
Louis. Bless him. And you just did it.
I know.
You know, and then you went out there, and then you got into a professional play, and you were like, yeah, I can
Yeah.
do this. And I loved it. I didn't do it. I was starting. So, you know, I still had a job, and I, you know, until I could get to a point where I could work for money. I thought, oh, people are supposed to get paid for this, right? And work and get an agent, and it was a process, you know?
Fabulous.
It was a process, but I loved it.
Showcasing back then.
Oh, yeah, showcasing.
Work.
Yeah,
Do your play afterwards.
Yes, yes. They used to give you a little money so
Yeah,
you get
yeah,
a cup of coffee
yeah.
for car fare if they had it. And
Right.
I just see these theaters all along, these great off Broadway,
Yeah.
struggling.
Yeah, the rents are just unreal.
yeah.
Dance companies have just folded because they can't
Yeah, little small theaters
afford,
too.
and the theaters are all gone. It's like it's heartbreaking because I saw so much when I first came here and got involved, and I've done things like work crew in theater as well as film because, you know, at points I said, I don't know, do I really want to be an actress? So I would try this, that, and the other just so I could be in it. But when I did film work and I did craft services and everybody was going home except me, I said, oh no. This won't work because as an actress I'm used to going home and not having to stay and clean up and making sure everything, although I did take location scouting too, but none of that. After you're in front of the camera and dealing with that, and because the hours are really long for the crew and they work hard. You have to give it to them, they work hard.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
did
sure.
like working backstage in theater. I think I did almost everything.
Well, you get spoiled being around actors
Yeah, you know.
you just put us in a room with nothing.
Yeah.
no nothing, no music, no food, you know, and we could just sit. And we will find a way to amuse ourselves.
And
If you get
create,
spoiled
yes.
being around creative people, you know, you do.
You do.
You do. You get spoiled being around creative people, and we find the most incredible way to amuse ourselves.
Yes.
You know, that's what you get spoiled with, and that's why you love it so, and that's why you're willing to sacrifice for it, you know?
Yeah, because if it's in your soul and that's who you are, you can't lie to yourself. I mean, it doesn't work because you'll be depressed. So you might as well do what you love and struggle with it. Ingrid, what do you want for yourself, say in a year? What would you like to be doing?
I actually, you know, I am doing, well, what I've been doing. I would really like to be, I love coaching, and I would love to continue to do it actually because it really is fulfilling to me. I would like to be acting more. I would like to be in a TV
yes.
show. I would like to be in a comedy.
Yes, yes, I agree. I
Comedy.
agree.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'll try to write you one.
perfect. Yeah, that's my dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, Marcella? and
I
about you?
definitely would love to do some comedy on television, a sitcom
Yeah.
or whatever. But I want to finish the rest of my writing, you know,
Yes.
get my stuff. I mean, I was looking through my stuff. I said, my God, you wrote all this. Why did you put it aside? to make a living, you know.
Yeah, I know. I've
To
been
make
after
a living. I mean, unless Lotto comes my way, I can
don't
tell you
live in
everything I'm going to do with
Nebraska.
that.
That usually
you know,
comes.
but that, and of course, work. You know,
Yes,
work.
yes,
If it
yes.
isn't a sitcom, you know, give me a vampire movie or something. I'm dying to get on The Walking Dead. Dying to be a vampire or something, you know, or a zombie.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's it. And then it's always about the writing, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Yes.
That keeps you, it's always about the writing, for me, you know. When it's good writing and you get
It's
a
nothing
shot
like
at a
it.
role
Yeah.
that's really,
Yeah.
everybody wants to do that, you
Yes.
know. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to, that really
Because when you
good writing.
go to auditions and the script is, they expect me to say this. This makes no sense. You know,
yeah,
and-
it's interesting out there. It's interesting out there, you know. But just to do the best you can with a really good script.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's all.
Or some real comedy, some real drama, something gutsy-wutsy.
And you, Sonny, what would you in about a year?
There's so much to do in so little time.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, comedy is great.
Do you write? I mean, do you write your own?
I write my own music.
Oh, okay.
And
Yes, this is true.
I start with poems, and then they turn into music, and I write, you know, just like little blogs to myself. I would never send them out because they're crazy, but maybe not that crazy.
No,
But,
it's true. We did a song together. I mean, I wrote the lyrics and she
And
did
I
the
put the
melody.
music, yes,
yes,
to it.
on my CD.
And that's what I love doing. So what I would love was to create a song for one of these Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah.